Big Red One is the 1st Infantry Division, which I'm very proud to have served with. The name actually comes from the patch that emanated from World War I, where just a piece of a German's hat material was hung on the shoulder of the soldier, and that started with the Big Red One.
The other units in the European theater disliked the 1st Infantry Division because the 1st thought that they were the #1 and the best, and this was brought about by our generals. Brigadier General Teddy Roosevelt used to tell all the generals, there's only one division in this damn army, that's the 1st Division. The motto of the Big Red One is no mission too difficult, no sacrifice too great, duty first. And they mean it. We had guys in the outfit, 24, 26. They had been through Africa and Sicily. They were seasoned veterans. I got a nickname, Yak Yak. I don't know why. You know, way us Irish guys are from Boston.
I think I was the funniest one in the squad. I felt it was my responsibility to my platoon to keep morale up.
I spent a lot of time in Big Red One. I made a lot of friends.
We buddied together. We had a lot of good times together. It's been over 60 years, you know, a lot of names just fade out. But his name will never fade out, obviously, because he saved my life, you know.
You rely on that guy on the right and left. This stuff about apple pie and mother and, you know, the country, that's baloney. You soldiered because you didn't want to leave your buddies. You didn't want to make your buddies ashamed of you.
It was a regular Army unit. It was well-trained, well-organized. They met their baptism of fire in North Africa, and it just built from there. They had a pretty bad reputation as being pretty tough guys, but they were fighters.
I had been in the Army a year. I went in 43, and when I joined the 1st Division, I already been in a year, private 1st class. And the guys from Sicily and Africa were very standoffish. And I found out why. They don't want to annoy you because you get whacked, they get a friendship. And I understood that because these guys had been through Africa and Sicily. There were so many replacements for the casualties they had in Sicily.
When we were making the attack at Beja in North Africa, we got into the cactus fence that surrounded the farm when the Germans opened up us. They sucked us in. It was an ambush, really. When I got back to the company area, I found that I had taken a number of bullets through the back of my back and had never even known it.
That was one of the roughest battles that we had in Sicily. Behind me, 2 Italian soldiers came, and they had their guns leveled out right at my stomach, see? But I didn't panic. I said, Al, come here and talk to these guys. What the hell do you want me to say? I said, well, tell them that they got no place, no future here, and so forth. So finally, the Italian soldiers said, all right, we'll surrender.
I joined the 2nd platoon. I was a rifleman. And there was relatively few people in the platoon. And I asked one of the combat veterans, I said, where is everybody? He said, oh, they're all dead or they're in a hospital someplace. He said, you got yourself in a wrong outfit.
On D-Day, I was the last-minute replacement, so I never trained like God bless these fellas did. Thank God I was with some seasoned men as the 1st had from North Africa and Sicily because they actually gave me the courage to be with them. In a way, too, it was a proud moment when the coxswain dropped the ramp and the first fellas off got killed instantly. And somebody yelled over the side, and I went over the side, and I lost everything I had. So I was over my head, and I started to swim in. I think if you ever saw the movie Private Ryan, it depicts it exactly what it was with the bullets hitting, the sound of those bullets hitting the water all around you.
I finally got out of the water. I made it up almost to the shale wall, and I got hit with some shrapnel, knocked me down. Of course, the rules were you don't stop for anybody. So the other guys were running right by me, you know. And the fire was just completely intense. I got belted 4 or 5 times. And the tide is coming in. And this is hard to talk about, believe me. And I'm gonna drown. And I'm trying to keep my head out of the water because it's coming right over my head, you know. Finally, somebody came down from this shale area, Turned out it was my buddy, you know, and he couldn't budge me. Now, he came down under fire, too. He went back, and they got another guy from Chicago. And he came down, and they cut my jacket off with a trench knife. I survived because of him when a lot of my good friends were killed.
The only thing that saved me was we had galoshes on, and the combat boots had a leather strap down here. It was a mine went off and blew sideways, and the leather was what stopped it. And I didn't even know I was wounded because it was so damn cold. The blood froze, and after we got off the hill, I said, "What the hell's this liquid?" And I looked down at my ankle, and my ankle was all cut up with shell fragments.
Out of nowhere comes these Germans. I used my M1 rifle. I had the bayonet on it because I was digging, trying to chop a hole. And I went off with 8 rounds, and I got some of them. And next thing, this fellow was almost on top of me. And I guess it was instinct. He swung his rifle at me, and I got him with my bayonet. And to this day, that haunts me. It's an awful way to die. And that's something I always have to live with.
I got called back in that afternoon, and they sent word that he wanted to see me, and I thought, well, what am I going to get this time? And he told me to pack my barracks bag. I was going home. And I had a 45-day furlough. And I hit Kansas City on the VE Day, and it wasn't safe on the streets in Kansas City on VE Day because everybody wanted to buy you a drink.